All right, folks, you're not confused. They lied, as usual. Check out the movie Vigilantes Inc., produced by journalist Greg Palaste. Check it out. There's Miracle. Okay.
Mm. And so when that's when the children of Israel, so God basically had to prove because Old Testament is God with us. New Testament is God in us. Okay.
Amen.
Uh, and so anyway, God had to let us see for ourselves that we cannot do it without him in us. So him having the children of Israel to pull them out and say, hey, I'm using you to show the rest of the world that it can't be done without
Yeah.
me. And so now then, and so coming through the tribe of Abraham, his tribes, Yeshua was born, or Yahshua was born through that tribe, through David. And then he came, died, resurrected, da 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 da. So now it's those who are with him now, but you still got the rest of those Gentiles out there that's worshiping all of those idol gods. And then I had to kind of touch bases with Noah,
Mhm.
of Ham, Shem, and Japheth, and who Japheth is, and where he went to, and why he wanna actually have the rights and all this stuff. So I had to get a little bit into that, but basically just telling them that hey, there's nothing new under the sun. It's been going on since the beginning of time. But eventually, it's all ends up being a part of God's plan to where He will bring us. He would bring us to salvation, to where we will be able to reign with Him. So
Oh,
when I looked at it, I'm sorry.
oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. No, I just said when I looked at it, it was like, wow. It was just amazing how crafty is she was saying how crafty he is. He's not smart, but he's crafty. Okay. Like, he's not wise, she said, I think, but he's crafty, you
There
know.
you go. That is so true. That's it. My thoughts exactly as I watched it. I was just so thankful. I said, "Thank you, Lord." That's it. Because
Mm.
anybody in their right mind had
Okay.
that situation was not what it was being presented at all.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I'm thankful that was really one of the main points I wanted to make sure that I got your opinions on tonight. Don Quinique did have to go, so in her absence, I she was just saying she had to be off by 7, and so um,
Okay.
I that's basically what I wanted to make sure that we touched on was just where the thought of moving forward and what we might be able to impart to others on that, and then this whole idea of here's what happened, people, and here are the facts of it. You need to
Mm-hmm.
understand that that was not what you would consider a legitimate win, and
Mm-hmm.
and I've always said that we're dealing with a two-headed monster, and what we have now is what's always been. It's just that, like you said, that craftiness and that deception has been so well orchestrated because you have the entire system
Mm-hmm.
playing to the same drum, and so they've always presented this separate front. But I think
Mm-hmm.
it's always been, just they've always been on the same agenda because the silence now that we see, I think so many people were so broken that they must have complained because there's some what is going to look like activity to respond and rebut from
Mm-hmm.
the campaign of Kamala's campaign. But
Mm-hmm.
we know that that this it's not going to be something that is going to be effective, because if it was going to be effective, they would have to literally not have known anything.
Mm-hmm.
You can't broadcast all of this what you call truth and then turn around and not look into the matter. So I can respect um, the gentleman who took Bush Jr. to court at least. But
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
this one was just absolutely, it was so pathetic. I was just like, I know they can't believe this.
I know, right? All right. Let me share something with you. Let me share, if I could, let me share something with you. You know, I went to Kenya for 3 weeks, right?
Yeah.
And so I was conversing with one of the ladies over there, and she came back and told me, you know, because I was saying, I said, before it's all over with in our conversation, I just said, before it's all over with, I may be trying to get to Kenya, right? And so she sit back and said, I'm Team Trump. She says, he is not perfect. They are both two sides of the same coin, but his agenda seems to align most with Yahweh's word.
Ooh.
No, I'm like, wow. I know, me too. I was like, wow. You call yourself knowing the truth, but anyway, it's like no abortion, transparency, accountability, Yahushua, Hamashiach, the bringer of salvation, peace, gender equals male and female from genitalia assignment at birth. And I said, girl, what did I tell her? Hold on here. I said, girl, I said, if you believe all that crap, I guess you have to show. I guess he'll have to show you how big of a nut he is.
Mm.
Transparency. Do you get? How do you get that through lies and deceit? And basically, I just told her it's all about preserving the Caucasian race.
Mm-hmm.
I said, rate. You know, I went into about the abortion rate and why it's so high among blacks and Latinos
Mm-hmm.
because the health facility is not there. Um, so, and you know, and if they're not giving us the health we need, the babies are dying. They're killing the babies. You know, what's the threat? Why are we a threat to them? Pretty much is what I'm saying to her.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's such an interesting dynamic. There are those that I know that if I were to engage them, they would be of the same mind. And I think for me, what I really want, and we're going to do this one, I think I'm going to push it back to our
Mm-hmm.
next opportunity because I really think that what people need to uh, understand is they need to look at Project 2025 and understand the knowledge because they can't recreate. They don't have the intellectual capacity to come up with another plan. They spent too much money and time putting into
Mm-hmm.
that one. So it's going to be implemented because it's all they have. And
Right.
so internationally, what I think if I were in on the continent of Africa, one of the questions I would be asking is, where is what is the what relationship do you have with China right now? Because you've
Girl,
allowed them into your country and they are a communistic nation.
thank
And
you.
when they so when you allow Satan in like that, and you don't think that that's going to affect the faith
Mm-hmm.
that you have with God, then you have to think again because He's not coming in to be your friend.
No.
That's just like saying, "Open up the door, come on in."
Mm-hmm.
We're supposed
Mm-hmm.
to be a nation that believes in God, and we know that you don't. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
which is exactly what Babylon, the daughter of Babylon, did, right? She built that nation up rather
Right.
than all of the other nations that were representative of the beliefs of God. They wouldn't do business with them. They wouldn't establish them like they did the economics that they did with
Girl,
China.
look, let me show you here. I told her the same thing. I said, why do you think the states do not support black nations the way they support Caucasian nations? Okay? They have to keep them down. They have to keep them suppressed in fear of a takeover. And I gave her an example. I said, Shaka Zulu. He had this, if he had the same ammunition that the British had, he would have blown the British off the face of the earth. You
Yeah.
know?
Yep. And there's one guy that's over there now. I think it's Senegal. Oh, they're
Uh,
running scared right now because this man and many of the African countries are standing up and speaking against this. But what they're doing is they're going into the hands of the enemy of the Lord. But
mm,
because the United States now they know Babylon is fallen, and
mm,
so they're not going to continue to try and build any relationship. with
Okay.
the United
Okay.
States, with the daughter of Babylon, because everybody around the world knows, and that's prophecy that every nation who has drank of the poison and the wine of the daughter of Babylon would be weeping
Mm-hmm.
in Babylon.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
I think we're seeing that very clearly when we look at
Right.
the international situation that's going on right now. And so Don Quinique mentioned agriculture. Agriculture is in serious trouble, and because China has already, I was looking at a report yesterday, China has already, uh, I think agriculture, the income from agriculture, which is why we were shipping all of that over to China. China has gone to Venezuela, so they're building them up now.
And
Uh,
they also they got their hands so hand deep in um Kenya and Tanzania too.
Oh, because I
They
remember when they went over there and they built their own little place, and they said they put walls around it. The people can't even
Mhm.
see up in there.
Yeah, I mean, they buying up that land so quick over there. I was like, man, y'all are crazy. I mean, when I'm saying that, didn't tell them that because they didn't have no control over that.
Right,
But
right.
yeah,
And
but China is very thick and deep in Kenya and
yes,
Tanzania. Hmm.
wow. And that's that's going to play itself out as well. But so there are a few things I would say to them. They better be looking at what's happening on the international scale, because this whole idea of prophecy, and of this, not of prophecy, but the one world order against prophecy, in order to
Hmm.
try and establish this position to fight against Christ and the remnant, is
Hmm.
where they're headed with this thing.
Right.
And that's the war you were talking about. Um,
Right.
and so it's all very. I just I'm glad that we've had a chance, and I'm gonna have to get ready to cut it now because I don't want to not be able to upload. But I want to just say that there's a lot to be discussed about it, and so I want to come back and revisit, kind of walking through with, not with a fine-tooth comb, but just looking at an overview of the plan
Hmm.
that they're planning to implement, and how that's going to, and we can pick out the areas that will help us to properly seek the wisdom of God about proper preparation.
Hmm. Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
that's kind of where we'll go next, and kind of I want to dig into at least that much of it, because I think once the we understand what happened in the election, that should drop the weight off of people if they're really willing to see it. Uh,
Right.
Absolutely. And so when they lose that weight, then they need to know exactly, what it is that what it is that is the bigger thing is to have enough time, and we got time now. We just have to accept the knowledge of coming out of this plan and how to prepare.
Absolutely.
Seek God
Ab-
about that. Prepare. He'll lead us in how to prepare, but our faith has got to, the only way we can implement faith wisely is that we understand that if he's opening up the door to allow us to see, then we need to seek him about, okay, what we need to be preparing for. Okay, be prepared. Just, he did the prophets all the time, Bob, like that. So I don't see any difference for us. So
Absolutely.
I want to thank you again, Marilyn, for coming on. I appreciate so much being able to share and get your opinions on some of these things, because
Mhm.
it is important. And I think it's really the trend that we ought to be doing is really bringing prophecy to every
Mhm.
conversation, because
Absolutely.
there are no answers in the earth for the kind of stuff that we're seeing. They can tell us everything they want, but they don't have any real
Mhm.
answers.
No, they don't. Mm-mm.
And in order for us as righteous people to exist in peace, we must not be running around here like chickens with their head cut off and fearful of this,
Mhm.
unsure about that. No, that ain't what God said. He said, I want you ignorant.
Right.
But if
Right.
you want to know, I'm gonna make sure that you get the knowledge you seek me for.
Hmm.
So I thank God for you tonight, my sister. And I want to
Okay.
say to those that are with us tonight, we want to thank you um, for joining the Generations podcast topic for tonight. How do we move forward? What's the best thing to do now that the election has happened? And um, want to invite you to go and check out, Vigilante Inc. Get your understanding and drop all of that burden of not knowing what happened. So thank you so much, my dear. And I'm going to go ahead and we'll close out and chat once we're done.